ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alrighty, on Friday night we had GCW Say You Will. I'm going to review that, and then tomorrow we'll get up Effy's Big Game Punch at 7 to review. Alright, so this show from Friday night, Say You Will, 2023 there in the Chicago area. One thing that I'm learning about GCW is when they travel around different parts of the country, there's certain matches they can't do. Some of the hardcore stuff, some of the bloody stuff you can't do in certain areas, which was weird because the AEW All Out actually had more blood than this shit did, which was kind of shocking to me. But I know when they're in New Jersey and stuff, they can do more of the hardcore, the death matches and stuff. But in Illinois, because they do the one in right outside of St. Louis and then the one in Chicago, you don't really have a lot of blood and stuff. You don't really have that hardcore part to it. Which realizing that different areas are allowed different things kind of makes sense. Alright, first match we have the typical Scramble match. This one was non-titled, and the reason it was non-titled because their GCW World Champion Jordan Oliver took on one called Manders, Headed Priest, Brayden, Toon, Fuego del Sol, and Jimmy fucking Lloyd. An 8-minute Scramble match with Jordan Oliver getting the victory. I will say with Jimmy Lloyd and one called Manders in this, you kind of have the big hosses, Adam Priest, Fuego del Sol, kind of the high flyers here. Same with Jordan Oliver, kind of that mix of the two worlds. Jordan Oliver at the end of the day getting the victory. I ended up giving it 3.5. Next up, we had Speedball Mike Bailey taking on Mance Warner. Oh, Mancer and Speedball. There was some strikes. There was some catch-as-cat stand style, catch-as-cat stand wrestling with Mance Warner. Overall, this match to me was a little bit of a letdown. Less than 10 minutes. Bailey getting the victory. I ended up giving it 2 3/4. I just couldn't put my finger on it. There was just something missing with Mance in this match. Next up, we had Violence is Forever, Dominic, Garrini, and Kevin Koo going up against BUSSY. Same way here, this match was just a little off. I was expecting a little bit more violence, I guess. But, because, you know, it is Violence is Forever. We got a little bit, but not a lot. It was like, okay, that's kind of... After the next match is when I kind of set the realization, kind of set in, wait, there's probably things they can't do because they're in the state of Illinois, and the Athletic Commission won't let them do it. But Violence is Forever ended up getting the victory over BUSSY. I ended up giving it 3-star. Now this is a match, when I first saw it on paper, I was really looking forward to it, and I really thought, you know what, this match could be hardcore. We had Masha, Slamovich, and Rina Yamashita, which is the GCW Ultraviolet Champion, going up against 2-time former GCW Tag Champions, Los Macizos, Ciclope, and Miedo Extremo. I was like, Extreme, have at it. We didn't get that. We got some chairs, we got some doors. That's about it. I'm like, wait a minute. We didn't have glass. We didn't have tacks. We didn't have blood. But yeah, I was like, okay. It was okay. It was a little over 8.5 minutes long. Went through a bunch of doors. But Masha, Slamovich, and Rina Yamashita ended up getting the victory. Ended up giving it 3.25. Next up, we had Joey Janela versus Lash LeRoux. Lash LeRoux hasn't had a match since 2006. Lash LeRoux was one of the WCW Power Plant. You heard me right. He came out of the WCW Power Plant in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, crazy to think he wrestled on Nitro and stuff. But Joe Janela took it to him. He actually looked in pretty good shape. Lash LeRoux, remember that name. I think we're going to see more of him. But Joe Janela ended up beating him. We ended up giving it 2 3/4 star. Next up, we had a tag match. We had Alec Price and Cole Radrick, the Ratty Daddy, going up against Bang and Matthews. We renamed the Bang Brothers because you couldn't Google their name, but now you can. August Matthews and Davey Bang. This match was just okay to me. We ended up giving it 3-star with the Bang and Matthews getting the victory. And then we had Frank the Clown come out. Oh, God. Frank the Clown is actually the son-in-law of Mankind. But Frank the Clown's bad. He comes out just doing Frank Clown stuff, talking about how he used to be in GCW and all this. And then we had Maki Ito come out. Maki Death Killer Gang. Going crazy. Maki brought her cute little pizza cutter with her and started slicing up Frank the Clown. So we had a bloody clown on our hands. Next up, we had the GCW World Heavyweight title line. We had champion Billy Christian versus Francesco Akira. He is part of the United Empire with Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. Him and TJP are Catch-22 former New Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Tag Team Champions. Akira actually took it to Blake Christian. There was times in this match I thought Akira might win. But at the end of the day, Blake Christian ended up getting the victory and then giving it 3.5. Next up, we had Gringo Loco versus Tony Deppen. Just another one of those matches that was just there for me. I was expecting more out of both these guys. Gringo didn't do all the normal high flying he does. It was more mat based, kind of like Tony Deppen does. But Tony Deppen ended up getting the victory, and I ended up giving it 3-star. And then we had John Wayne Murdoch come out while Tony Deppen was still in the ring. And Swaggle came out and was going on cutting a promo with Tony Deppen. Tony Deppen's kind of put Swaggle down. And then Murdoch came out. The match was supposed to have been Swaggle versus John Wayne Murdoch. Then after a little bit of back and forth, we ended up having a tag match. John Wayne Murdoch teaming up with Tony Deppen, going up against Swaggle and Boom Colt Cabana from Chicago. Yeah, this match was just, I give it 2.5. It was there. I mean, yeah, it was freaking Swaggle. Come on. I love the fact that at one point Swaggle was like, well, I've been in 5 WrestleManias. How about you? Tony Deppen during their back and forth. I'm like, that's pretty epic. And they give it 2.5. Colt Cabana and Swaggle getting the victory. Next up, the main event is a match I didn't know I wanted until I got it. And then with the realization that not every match in different areas can be a death match, this match became more okay with me. We had El Hero del Vikingo going up against Nick Gage. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good match, to be honest with you. Might be one of Nick's best matches. Yeah, Vikingo was doing his high flying stuff, but you know what? Nick Gage was getting in with the chairs on the outside. I love at one point you had a fan holding a chair for Vikingo to knock it against Gage. Gage ended up kind of blocking it and kind of turning it on Vikingo. Then Vikingo throws Nick Gage through like 4 rows of freaking seats. It's like, oh boy, here we go. That's really all it was. They used like a handful of doors and a bunch of chairs, and that was it. So it was like, okay, I kind of get why Vikingo versus Gage we're getting that now. We wouldn't get that at maybe a show or something like that. But El Hero del Vikingo getting the victory, I love the fact he's been wrestling everywhere. Ended up giving it 3.5 stars. So that is GCW Say You Will review. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports center content. We'll have that GCW Effy's Big Game Run 7 review up here sometime on the Labor Day holiday. Thanks for watching.